An anti-LGBTQ plus bill currently before Parliament. When passed, will see culprits face a jail term of up to 10 years, depending on the crime. The promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values bill 2021, championed by 7 members of Parliament, Sam George, Alhassan Suhini, Reverend Intim Fojo, Roxin Dafiamekbo, Helen Ntoso, Rita Odole Soa, and Emmanuel Bejra will convict a person to a fine of not less than 750 penalty units. Now listen to an interaction among some religious leaders, MPs who sponsored the bill, and the Speaker of Parliament when the MPs presented the bill to them sometime last month.
We want to inform all and sundry in this country, whether you are from the diplomatic corps or from within the executives, or even from our own, from among ourselves as legislature, we are sounding this call that the chiefs are here, the traditional leaders, and the clergy, with our brothers from the Muslim fraternity, are here to speak with one voice.
Sometimes I consider some of the things that are going on as glorified foolishness. No, foolishness that has been glorified. Because you know that if you take the LGBT agenda into consideration, some of the things, you cannot just think about it. Some time ago, people couldn't have come publicly to say this thing. It was an abomination. But we have tolerated this thing to the point that we have glorified it.
I sit here as the Speaker of Ghana. I represent Ghanaians and the country Ghana. We have spoken with one voice that we don't want anything to do with whatever terms they add, because there's still no end yet. One of their activists called Mo said in social media, I'm a funny person. That the Speaker is a funny person. I will continue to be funny to make sure that the right thing is done. I am pro-life, and I will continue to be funny to make sure that lives are saved in the world.
So that was just sometime last month when the private members of Parliament drafted that bill and submitted to the Speaker, including the religious leaders also in that interaction. But let's quickly run through some of the measures or the provisions of this particular bill that is seeking to criminalize activities of LGBTQ plus persons. So it says it constitutes an offense if a person engages in sexual intercourse with another of the same sex, with an animal, or any pansexual activity. It also goes on to say one may not marry or try to marry a person of their same sex or a person who has undergone sex or gender reassignment. So those are some of the provisions of the proposed bill, which is expecting to see parliamentary approval. There are many other considerations and proposals involved in this particular bill. Now it says it's an offense to be lesbian, gay, transgender, transsexual, queer, pansexual, non-binary, or any ally that's a non-queer person who advocates for the queer community. And one may not provide or participate in surgical procedure for sex, gender reassignment, or any other related procedure. Now it says the use of any form of technology to share material that promotes LGBTQ plus activities is prohibited. Another provision is that engaging in any acts that promotes sympathy for acts against this bill or a change of public opinion on the bill. It also goes ahead to say offering your premises, any other movable or immovable assets or assistance for promoting LGBTQ plus and their activities is prohibited. It goes ahead to say public displays of amorous relations between persons of the same sex, between people that have undergone gender reassignment, is termed as grossly indecent and not permitted. So quickly, those are some of the provisions. It finally says a person will not be permitted to fund or sponsor any activities prohibited under this act. So those are the provisions of this particular bill seeking to criminalize activities of LGBTQ+. We're joined on the line by private legal practitioner Christian Mam Hesse. He will give us an interpretation of exactly what these provisions mean and why flouting these provisions will be a law. Thank you very much for joining me, Lawyer Mam. Now, these provisions seek to criminalize the acts, the sponsors, or the manifestation of any related, LGBTQ plus, individuals and activities, etc. From your reading of the bill, are we not doing too much?
Yes, thank you very much, and good afternoon to your viewers. Interestingly, perusing through the bill, one thing that pricks my mind is the balance. I'm looking at the legal balance in the bill vis-a-vis the human rights aspect. And I phantomed to say, or shuddered to progress to say that you look at the preceding part or the prelude to the subsequent provisions, it touches on Article 24 as the state being sovereign, so that whatever Parliament is seeking to do should be looked at that. But they venture into other articles of the Constitution to say that this particular bill is majority or mostly premised on Article 39, which is to promote the family unit, and then the socio-cultural values of the people of Ghana. We understand that per Article 11, the laws, or we take precedence from customary laws. Now, you peruse through trying to balance the fundamental human rights with respect to Article 17, Article 12, 21, 1A and D. The imbalance is what is problem to me as a legal person. But you realize that, or from the intents and purposes of the people promoting this particular bill, the whole thing is premised on how to project the socio-cultural views. And the socio-cultural views of people exist within a certain paradigm time. So that if this is what the people of Ghana believe or seek to say that they abhor, then probably that will become the law of the day. But at the end of the day, this is what would interrogate the minds of people for debate and all that.
Now, many people are wondering, the bill that came, to us, more than 36 pages, a lot of, provisions embedded in there. But from your reading of the law, for the lay individuals, people who are not learned in law like yourself, what are their takeaways from this? What are the perfect takeaways from this?
Takeaways. If you look at clause 2, it deals with anything to do with LGBT plus, anything to do with it. It gives a definition of it. Now, it further goes in to talk about any form of sexual relationship, whether in private or exhibited in public, is criminalized. Now, if you also progress to clause 4, it talks about you exhibiting it, where you exhibit it, or anybody, organization, civil organization, society, or persons that seek to sponsor or promote, incite, instigate any form of LGBT activity or its related matters is an offense. And if it happened in your presence that there is an LGBT party or persons who show amorous relationship and that seeks to suggest that they are same sex, you should report to the police. Also, it also voids any form of marriage that same-sex persons will seek to do. We saw some of these things happening, and some military. I think there was a report of 2 military officers who got themselves in all of it. So it seeks to criminalize all of those things. Now, any form of propaganda, advocacy, and all of this promotional activities, they are all offenses. And it further goes on to say that persons who are involved in these things, especially victims, would be given support.
Okay.
And anybody who identifies himself as LGBT plus should avail himself for counseling, for physiological therapy, and all of that.
Okay.
So that is where they try to bring in a balance of the two. But still, in the mind of a lawyer, the balance, especially with respect to Article 12, 17, 21, they are not too clear about the fundamental rights of the people. And that is where the worry is.
All right. Thank you very much. Christian Mamhese is a private legal practitioner there speaking to us. Joining me also on the other Zoom link is former Amnesty International boss, Robert Akoto-Amoafo. Thank you, Robert. Now, I know when this particular matter came up sometime last month, there was a conversation about how to include persons from the LGBTQ plus community and other rights advocates in conversations and engagements in this particular regard. From your reading of the proposed bill that we have seen, does it come to you as a surprise that we are seeing the content that we have it now?
Thank you very much. No, not a surprise at all. For a regional Africa regional advocate on such things, I think it's no surprise. Why is it not a surprise? Because this is clearly a project of a group of people who are working not only in Ghana, but in Uganda, Nigeria, and other African countries who, if you look at the bill and you compare it to the bills of Nigeria and Uganda, you see a progression of how they define the things. I had a conversation with two MPs on your station not long ago, and the things that I mentioned that they have left out and they are not thinking about, you could see them, all of them reflecting. But as has been said by the lawyer, clearly they didn't think through the implications of what they are putting into this law, which clearly takes away the basic rights of a lot of people, including you, the media, and including a lot of people, and the arbitrariness of the law is quite surprising to me, and how it just takes away the rights of everybody in Ghana. I mean, the idea that if somebody mistakenly says, "Hey, I'm gay," then the person is supposed to be arrested. The way the law is drafted it looks like it is out of hate. It is just not a project on any evidence or research. If you look at what the preamble or the memo is on, you see all the issues they have raised are not things that are backed properly by empirical evidence and has some foundation that you would say this law is needed in a democratic, civilized society like Ghana.
Would you be surprised if it is passed in this current form? The members go ahead to debate it, make inputs and amendments if there are any, and then it is passed into law?
It would be very sad that they are able to pass such a law that even has simple, basic typographical errors and other things if it is passed. And also the idea that the parliament itself has passed there's a constitution that this law is basically flaunting and going against. And so it will be surprising that it is passed in its current form. And like it basically closes up civil space, silences the media, promotes hate, and clamp down on civil society work, and even the parliament themselves. Now, if you're saying that somebody should not receive funding from a donor for LGBT work, the question is the government entitled to also take funding from the same source for other projects for itself? So these are the questions that they are supposed to, and as I mentioned at the last discussion, I don't think there has been any proper engagement with key people who would draw their attention to some of these things. And as has been said already, we are seeing all these gaps that we are raising.
Thank you very much, Robert Akoto-Amoafo, is former Amnesty International boss there speaking to us on this particular matter. And as you would imagine, this has generated a lot of conversation on social media. Many of you have been, reacting to this in portions of a bill on Facebook and on Twitter as well. You have all been reacting. I'll quickly run through some of the messages that have been coming through on our social media platforms. And we will also be joined in a short time by One Love the Kubolo, who will give us his perspective on this. So as you can see, these are some tweets. This one says, God bless Sam George for championing the will of God and some sensible Ghanaians. This is Also, another one, a lion in this jungle. Here is, he's roaring and you people don't like it. Why? You want him to crow? Dude is a lion, he can't chicken out. Jata cement your fight, okay? Whatever. That's General Lord the Poet. That's his comments there on Twitter. Now, this one from Neutral Mary tweets at mbanks133. It says, good move by Sam George. Parliament should pass the bill. Let our donors deny us aid. Then boom, Nanado's Ghana Beyond Aid will be achieved. A very simple way of achieving our target since independence. So that's at Banks133. They're speaking to us. You're still watching Media Live here on TV3.